so many names of the ingredient which we as a parent don't understand. So plant-based lifestyle, you are eating things which are close to Mother Nature. Whatever Mother Nature is giving you, you are consuming that.
Where do they get their protein from?
But what I see now in the market is overhype. Will you get only from these protein shakes and powders and what is available in the market is, I feel, is a marketing gimmick.
Something that people get attracted to and they start researching on it, and there's so much content available online. You don't know what to believe, what not to believe.
Right.
But we tend to believe what everybody talks about, unfortunately.
Right. And somehow we just isolate one component from each food, and we start seeing it like that. You need to focus holistically on that food. Are we overdoing with this one component? And are we neglecting rest of them? So that is what we...
Hi, and welcome to Tantrums to Triumphs, another episode today. Here we are at Kids Adda with Kriti Yadav. Kriti Yadav is the founder of Cook Clean. She became a parent in 2014 and she was very inspired to incorporate healthy lifestyle for her child, and she became a certified holistic nutritionist. Since then, she has delivered 100 plus workshops to Fortune 500 companies promoting food as a source of healing. She also was named one of the top 50 ventures from IIM Bangalore and has received the second highest Rashtriya Krishi Vikas Yojana Raftar grant. Her goal is to inspire people to live healthy and protect the planet. So let's dive into the conversation to understand nutrition from Kriti Yadav today. Hi Kirti, and welcome to Kids Adda, to our Tantrums to Triumphs episode. Nice to have you here.
Thank you so much, Deepti, for inviting me for your podcast, and I hope I add value.
Absolutely. I'm looking forward to all the tips that you have for parents and children today. So let's begin with, about your journey towards Cook Clean. How did it start? What was your inspiration?
Okay, sure. So it all started actually when my daughter was born, and this was way back in 2014. She's a preterm child, so for me it was very, very important to take care of her milestones, which I think all parents understand. And that's when I started focusing on eating clean and what exactly goes in our food and how can I make my child healthy. And that was a journey. During this journey, I got introduced to something called as plant-based lifestyle, and I started following it. I lost a lot of weight, which is like, I'm so proud about that. Almost 28 kgs of weight I lost following this lifestyle. And that's when I got inspired that, okay, this is working on me. I started, understanding it better. I did my courses and I became a certified nutritionist. And even though I'm a computer science grad and I have been part of many MNCs, which was my corporate career, but after my child's birth is when I decided to leave all of this, and then the nutrition part started. So yeah, this has been the journey, and way back in 2021 during COVID is when I started Cook Clean as a product company, with the idea that most of us parents are struggling to give healthy, clean label food to our kids. And that was even my struggle. You pick any packet and you find so many preservatives, so many names of the ingredient which we as a parent don't understand, right? A layman cannot understand. That's when I thought that, okay, let me make food as how traditionally our grannies used to make, and that's when Cook Clean was born.
That's fantastic. So your inspiration was your child and of course being healthy generally as well. That is fantastic. I think we also as parents would like to understand a bit about your products. What is it that, first of all, I'd like to know what exactly is plant-based product according to you.
Sure.
And then we will dive into your product categories and what kind of products do you have for children.
Okay. So plant-based lifestyle, let me explain it in a very simple terms, is you are eating things which are close to Mother Nature. whatever Mother Nature is giving you, you're consuming that. So in either it's completely unprocessed or it's minimally processed. For example, when you eat, when you are eating a wheat grain or rice, for example. So when rice is produced, it's actually murky, right? It's not so clean and neat. And that's the first form of rice.
Yep.
With the husk, we remove the husk and then we are eating that. So it's close to Mother Nature. So this is one definition. The second definition is we remove all the dairy products and animal-based products, which means there's no doodh, dahi, makhan, paneer in that.
Okay.
And also we are not consuming any form of non-veg because again, this is basically how we see it. It's Mother Nature would give grass to the cow and then we are consuming that milk. So
Yep.
whatever nutrient that you're getting from milk actually can come directly from the plants. So that's the whole concept of following plant-based lifestyle. And I was not a plant-based person. I actually changed at the age of 38. So I have lived a life as a vegetarian person, drinking a lot of milk, curd, doodh, dahi, makhan, paneer. And throughout my life, I had a lot of issues, which generally is not considered as a disease. Like you will have constipation, you'll have headache. I also had high cholesterol, high BP during my pregnancy. And all these problems were happening. But eventually, when I gave up on this, the first thing which happened was, of course, weight loss. I was literally losing 1 kg every week. It was such a transformation which never happened before this. And generally, aapne suna hoga na, people would say that, oh, after the kid, it's so difficult to lose weight.
Yeah.
After this, it's so difficult to. But I actually lost weight after my child's birth. This was the first time that I lost weight in my entire life, following this plant-based lifestyle. So that's when I got the confidence that, this is working for me. And then I need to know about it more and more.
Yeah.
So that's how the whole journey started. And so this is plant-based lifestyle. Now, since I am a plant-based nutritionist, I focus on that. My products are also plant-based, which means we are not using any dairy products, which means we are not using any animal-based products. So my focus is mainly to make those traditional laddus, which our grannies used to make for us with very few ingredients. So I don't mix too many ingredients to confuse the stomach. Few ingredients which are better alternatives to sweets and snacks that you find in the market. Because most of us, especially Indians, we love our sweets and snacks, and and we don't find that in the market. So that's the idea. Like 3 meals, somehow we will manage to give healthy food.
Yep.
But when it comes at 4 o'clock, that's when you start
Craving.
indulging and craving into bhajia and samosa and all those things and gujia.
Yeah.
So that's where I started making a change that, okay, if I have to make a chivda, it has to be from millets. If I have to make laddu, then it has to be from almonds and ragi and all those things. And then trail mixes. So we focus on these things. And then we have a lot of nut butters. So everything catering to the kids, they can eat it without any guilt. Basically, my inspiration again is my daughter. So any product that I launch, first I give it to her to taste, and then few of her friends. And when they give a feedback, okay, this is good, this is not good, we change accordingly, and then we launch it in the market, and then finally, of course, all the customers give the feedback.
Fantastic. That is really nice. And
you.
that I think you have really clarified what plant-based food is. One thing I didn't know, I didn't do my research properly about plant-based food because it's a new concept for me, and I'm not used to it. But you spoke about dairy, and that's quite interesting.
That's right.
And protein is a very big name today in the market.
Yeah.
So when you're not eating paneer, for vegetarians specifically, and dairy, where do they get their protein from? And going one step back, how important is protein? Is it as important as how it is hyped up today in the market?
Okay. It is definitely important. We have a concept in nutrition called as macronutrient and micronutrients. So protein is one of the macronutrient. The word macro means needed in large quantity. So our body, we have 3 macronutrient: carb, fat, and proteins. Now, a few years back, it was said that don't eat your carbs, go on a low carb diet. but it's a macronutrient. Similarly, fat was given a bad name. We literally made fat is equal to the fat in the body,
Yeah.
which is so unfortunate, but fat is something that your body needs. And then the third thing is protein. Now you need all these three things in a good quantity for us to sustain and do different kind of activities. And then we have micronutrients, which are your vitamin and mineral. So now this says that proteins are important, but what I see now in the market is overhype.
Yep.
And people talking so much about it, and saying that if you're not consuming protein shakes, protein powders, and protein bars and all those things, then you're going to die or you will have protein deficiency, which I am against it. Like, yes, you need proteins, you need all these, it's an important component, but will you get only from these protein shakes and powders and what is available in the market is, I feel, is a marketing gimmick. You can, there are sources for vegetarians, yes, paneer and dairy is the source. But for people who are following plant-based lifestyle, all your dals will provide you protein. It also provides you carbs. It also provides you other vitamin and minerals. Somehow, we just isolate one component from each food and we start seeing it like that. Like when we see even rice, we think that it's only a source of carb. Yes, the carb content is high in that. But if you eat something which is like a red rice or a rice which is closer to Mother Nature, like I always say, right? That also has protein. It also has certain minerals and vitamins. But we don't talk about that. Similarly, when we see chicken as a source of protein.
Yep.
But we don't see it as a source of fat, which has saturated fat. Why? Because it's marketed like that. So that is the thing that we need to start realizing, that stop seeing food as an isolated component. You need to focus holistically on that food. If you're eating food in a balanced thali, again, which is close to Mother Nature, it would provide you all the components needed. So for vegan people or people who are following plant-based lifestyle, all dal, chana, chickpeas, rajma, tofu, tempeh, and your nuts and seeds, like chia seeds, such a small seed, but it can provide you a good amount of protein. Your peanut butter, like the peanut, right? So now one tablespoon of peanut butter can provide you 4 grams of protein. So if we sit and calculate how much protein do you need in a day, for example, your weight is 50 kg, 50 to 55 kg for a normal person is good enough. For kids, okay, increase it little bit more because they will be, they are playing, they have more activity, body is growing. Increase it from I'm going technical, but like 0.8 grams is what we talk about. Now just increase it to 1.2 gram. Even then, it's easy for you to get that amount of protein by eating natural food. You really don't need, shakes and bars and all these things that are being sold. And my simple question is, only this is being marketed to few section of our society.
Yep.
What about rest of the world? I've seen my granny living at the age of 80, healthy and happy. She is not consuming any protein shakes. Yep. So that is where we need to just question ourselves, that are we overdoing with this one component? And are we neglecting rest of it? So that is what we need to think.
Yeah, you absolutely need a holistic
You need a holistic approach.
You need a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
But, like you said, the marketing gimmicks and the hype that people create depending on what they want to sell is something that people get attracted to, and they start researching on it, and there's so much content available online. You don't know what to believe, what not to believe.
Right.
But we tend to believe what everybody talks about, unfortunately. Right? So it is. It's very interesting that you spoke about the marketing gimmick and isolating protein by itself. So coming to kids and health and plant-based nutrition or general nutrition, what is, and I know you run a huge WhatsApp community of parents, right, who are taking nutrition advice from you for their children. What do you see are the challenges for parents today? The new age parents.
So generally what I see in our busy world, number one, the biggest challenge that I see is thanks to 10-minute apps bringing the food in. The way we used to make food in our house is absolutely gone.
Yeah.
People are eating outside more. So, the nutrition part of it is always taking a back seat. We are not focusing on ingredients that are healthy and good, right? So, like when most of parents say that buying an organic product is expensive, or buying a little premium ingredient is expensive. Now, my question to them is, when they have problems like any health disease, then when you pay to the doctor and the lab and everything, then also there is a cost. So before that only, we start investing a good amount in fruits and vegetables and good ingredients which should be in our pantry, then it's going to make a change.
Yeah.
So we have to start thinking like that. So the first thing is, can we cook few meals in our house? Then we start focusing on what kind of ingredients are we using. Be it your oil that you're using, the rice and wheat, because these are the basic things. If these become better, then, a lot of things can be changed. For example, just by adding chia seeds on something is not going to change your life drastically. It's the base element that have to change, right? So there will be again headlines, eat chia seed to lose weight, eat chia seed to do this.
Yeah.
But that's a very small portion of it. What we need to focus on is our thali that we are eating on day-to-day basis. So parents, my advice is only one. First, start making food at home if that number and the frequency is reducing. 2, focus on the ingredient. And 3, most of the time we talk about junk food. Now, there's a saying that you are what you eat, and you eat what is in your pantry and what you can see. So in your house. So now if you are keeping chips and biscuits and all the unhealthy stuff, the kids are going to see that and they are going to eat that. But if you place a nice basket of fruits on the dining table or on the table so that the kids can reach, that's going to change their mindset. Trust me, it's just the mindset game. And I have done this and I have tried and tested, because I'm a mother of 11-year-old daughter, and I have done that, and that's why I'm saying it with so much conviction.
Yeah, I think that is a very good point. It is the parents who have to put in the effort and identify what are the products that we need for our children that is healthy, and what is it that we need to start omitting from our pantry.
Right.
And, and that's when they'll start getting used to it. That is one step. Second, the peer pressure from the kids, the kids' friends, right? I think with the number of products that are available in the market today and the variety of items that are available, and kids go to, schools, classes, wherever, and they hear about it, the peer pressure, I think, is also adding quite a bit to the families,
Right.
Kids talk about things and the others want to try it.
Right.
Right. It is how you as a parent are going to convince the child is very important.
Right.
Right?
Right. So I have one say on this, like again, tried and tested. So how is this peer pressure? It's just a mindset, okay? And a beautiful concept that I have developed, okay? How is this peer pressure coming? Because the other kids are pressurizing your child that, look, I'm doing the school thing and I'm eating this, and that thing has a toy in this.
Yeah.
All these, this is just a way of pressurizing your child. Now, communication is very important in this thing. Like sitting, I have done this, by sitting on the table with my daughter and talking about her whole day. And these types of conversation do come that, okay, this child bought this food and she was wearing this and that. All those things will come up. Now, that's when they come up, you need to help your child to understand that why that is not important and how you can face that situation. So every time when my daughter comes up that somebody is eating this food, what do I do? From a very early age, I have continuously talked about it. Talk about what is healthy for you and what is going to help you and how it is going to help you in future. You will not get any disease, you will not get any problems. When I am changing her mindset, and it's a long process, and it takes a lot of effort, and sometimes you will have to take a back seat because child might revolt.
Yeah.
But it's a consistent process that you keep nudging and keep pinpointing it to that. So then now what happens is that she says that instead of they are pressurizing me, I give them my style of doing things, and they look it.
That's nice.
So that's now, if they can give you a pressure, your child can also reverse that and give them a pressure.
Yeah.
Right. So that's how I think the whole system can change. If one child starts saying that no, my mama will only give me healthy things and I will not eat what you're giving, the other child will definitely have that thought. Maybe, out of pressure, they might not change immediately, but after a few years, parents will start changing. So I think more than the child, it's the parents that they have to set rules. So like in her school, there are a lot of rules that you cannot do this, you cannot do that, and eating has to be like that. So I think those rules are very important when you're growing as a child. We have to give them choices, but the choices have to be, one or two, not everything in the world.
Yes.
That's where you start making a difference. That, okay, you can eat a rice or a roti.
Yeah.
But there's no option like you can eat a rice and a pizza or a pizza, right?
Yeah.
So that's where you make a choice, and that's how things start changing. I feel it has a lot to do with the mindset than just the food or the pressure around you.
True, absolutely. And I think that is very a valid point that you have mentioned, that we as parents have to drive that conversation, and it is not easy. Like you said, it takes a long time.
It is.
But we have to be consistent.
Yes.
We have to be consistent with our thought process. We have to be consistent with the way we are including nutrition in our daily life, and it is a lifestyle change. Right? Very good. So let's talk a little bit about your products as well. I know you mentioned laddus. What other products do you have as part of Cooklean? And
okay. So one of the high, because protein is being so much talked about. I never wanted to put it like that, but then since it's talked about, we have trail mixes, which are basically it has 24 gram of protein in a pack of 100 gram, right? So even if you eat 50 gram, you're getting 12 gram of protein in a day. So basically we have trail mixes. Then we have snacks like baked matri, jawar chivda, all these snacks we have just to solve your snacking craving, because that's the most difficult time. That 4 o'clock is the most difficult time, which we crave. Comes the rain, we want to eat bhaji, and with chai. Chai is another topic to be discussed. Should you be drinking or not? But this is what generally things are around us, right? So then we are trying to solve the snacking problem. So all the snacks, different variety of snacks, which are either dry roasted or baked, that is what we focus on. And then we have all these laddus, which are again made in traditional way with very few ingredients, which are completely plant-based, which are healthy, and no chemical, no preservative, because I made these products as a mother, not as somebody who has knowledge about how to increase the shelf life of a product. So I have not put any preservatives. So that is how the products are. And then we have a lot of nut butters. So we have, because these nut butters are basically giving you good fat and also giving you high protein. So then these nut butters like almond butter, and then sunflower butter, cashew butter, and peanut butter in different flavors. This is what we are. So instead of that sugar loaded jam, what you can do is put a nut butter on your bread or chapati and have it. So these are the 3 categories in which we have launched number of products. Yeah.
Fantastic. And where can people buy them from?
So from my website, cooklean.com, which is like KUKCLEAN.com. From there you can purchase, make an order, and we supply it across India.
Okay, very nice. So let's talk about, I know you brought up chai.
Yeah.
So as a nutritionist, and we love our chai, right? We Indians love our chai. Nicely boiled and properly with lots of milk and sugar.
I know,
As much as I'm not a tea person, but I know a majority of them are.
Right.
Some people say it's good, some people say it's not good, and there's too many conversations around it. What is your opinion?
So chai, I mean, if you start, let's make the recipe of chai. What do you do? First thing is you are putting water, then you're putting your ginger and your cardamom and your cloves and everything. As long as you're putting this much, it's fair enough, good. Now you put that chai ki patti. We all know that chai ki patti has caffeine.
Yeah.
In small quantity compared to coffee, but it has, okay? Then the second thing is we are putting sugar. We all know it's bad, but we are addicted to it so much that we put.
Yeah.
Okay, and then we are guilty about it. So what we will say, oh, I only take 1 chammach of sugar, half a chammach, or just a pinch of sugar to make me feel. Now here is the catch. Feel. Why are we drinking tea? We are drinking tea because it's in my head. We are drinking tea because it's a feeling, it's a warmth, it's a break from my whole day. 4 o'clock, I have to drink that chai. Why? Because I feel that if I don't drink that chai, I will get a headache, or I will feel dizzy, or I will not be in my best. So I have to drink chai. So you see that whole concept of chai is not about that beverage. It's about your feeling. It's about your emotion. It's about your habit, which has been formed from a very early age. You have seen your parents, your grandparents with a newspaper drinking tea. So that's our image. So the image is that it's a comfort.
Yeah.
It's my comfort to drink tea, and that's how sometimes your body actually doesn't need, right? Anything. In fact, any food, if you are constantly feeling the urge to it, that means you are addicted to it. And now when you are addicted and your body cannot run without it, that's a sign that you have to think about. So that is when we have to make a choice. Now, because of all these feelings, we drink tea. Trust me, body would not ask for it.
Yeah.
But we get withdrawal symptoms. What are the symptoms? Moment I don't drink tea, my head starts aching. That's just a concept. And yes, it might take for a few days, because if you leave tea,
anything,
your brain is asking for it, craving for it, because you have been doing it from years. So your brain will, you will get a headache. Then you will associate that if I don't drink tea, I will get a headache, so I have to drink. So what are you doing? You are becoming addicted to it. Just like how somebody is consuming drugs or smoking.
Yeah.
You become addicted to it, right? So similarly, I feel chai is an addiction. Now, how do you change? That's what I tell my clients. In fact, one of my clients used to consume 8 cups of coffee.
Wow.
Now, if you consume 8 cups of coffee, your nervous system is just going to create a havoc in your system, in your body. Your sleep is just going to go for a toss. What are you doing with your body? So for me, it was such a challenge. Everything perfect. Okay, I told her to eat salads, do this, everything perfect. But Kirti, I cannot leave the coffee, because I will get a headache. I said, okay, let's bring it down. Can you from 8, can you come to 6? 1 month it took me to bring her down to 6. Okay, and I allowed, which is so against my principles, but I had to allow, okay, go ahead and, 6, 4, from 4 to 2. Now she has come to half, and now it's 1/4 cup. But it's so hard. Now she's not getting any headache. Why? Because the habit has changed.
Yeah.
And now over a period of time, what she is doing is, I call it as heavenly tea. And I keep sharing this recipe with everyone. What I do is, which is like our kashaya or which is like our kadha, right? Now, if you drink this early morning, or if you're drinking this when it's too cold, it actually soothes your throat and it's not going to harm you. Boil your water, put your ginger, mint, cardamom, cloves, give a try to this recipe. And it's not like I'm just making up the recipe. So many people have tried and it tastes so good. Just take your water, put your ginger, grated ginger, or just pound it. Then you put your cardamom, cloves, mint leaves, and there's something called as long pepper, which is like peepli. We call it as peepli or pimpli, which is basically a pepper, but it's long pepper.
Okay.
Now you not grind, just pound everything together, put it together, boil it, then switch off the gas, let the flavors infuse in nicely, and you drink this
concoction.
Decoction. There's no tea in this, there's no tea leaves. You really don't need sugar. If you crave for it, put fennel seeds, and that will give you the sweetness, or you can put cinnamon stick. That will give you that mild sweetness. Drink this. After few days, you will find, yes, initially you will have to force yourself because you are so used to that milk tea. After few days, you will find the benefits.
Nice.
That it's soothing, it's giving you that warmth and feeling, it's giving you that break, and yet it's not causing any harm to you. And your throat is also becoming better.
I'm definitely going to try this.
Please try
Thank you so much. It sounds very delicious though. It does sound very interesting.
Thank you.
So I'm definitely going to try that.
Sure.
So just coming back to kids, what are give us some tips with child nutrition. I mean, a lot of children and parents would be interested to understand your perspective on what is it that we should probably give a child every day, or what are the proportions that we need to include of these, various proteins, minerals, vitamins, carbs, fat. So what is your perspective on that?
Okay. First thing is, don't force your child to drink your milk for calcium. Eat your oranges for vitamin C, or eat your spinach like that Popeye. I think what is the name of that character to get your iron, and don't do that. Why? Because the child doesn't care about that.
Yeah.
The child cares, is the texture of that food interesting? Can I see the colors? And can I eat it with my hand? There's a crunch in the food. So start seeing food as holistically, rather than isolating it with each ingredient. That's what we do, right?
Yes.
Eat your eggs for protein, eat your milk for calcium, drink your milk for calcium. So we have started associating it like that. Break that association. That's the first thing for the parents. Then the second thing is simple concept. One of the simple concept is whole grains. Can we focus on whole grains? Can we get a rice which is not white, but something like white rice, which is like red rice, or your matta rice, or all these traditional rice? Make that, you eat first, and then the child will eat, because they will just imitate what you are doing. Then your dals. Now when you're making a dal, sneak in little bit of vegetables in that. Put some green, like your moringa or your drumstick. Such a wonderful thing.
Yeah.
We just made capsules out of it, and now we are selling it.
Oh, okay.
But the beautiful part is it's available so easily in our country.
Yes.
We can just get few leaves, put it in your dal, and you don't have to make the child feel that, oh, if you don't eat your green, something would happen.
Yeah.
You just sneak it in your dal. Now there is dal, there is chawal. Now some portion of sabzi. Again, make different types of sabzi. Sometimes few sabzis which even you hate as a parent. It's okay, first you start eating it and then give it to the child, then the child will. So then sabzi, and then some raw food, which is, when I say raw food, basically cut some salad, right? If nothing, just a cucumber is also fine. Now when you put a plate like this, there are 4 elements which are taking care of all your carbs, protein, vitamin and mineral. That can be the lunch. In a similar format can be your dinner. In between snacking, like I said, we provide all the snacks. So all the laddus and trail mixes and nuts and seeds, all this you can give. Then comes the fruit. You can either give it in the morning at around 11 o'clock or maybe in the evening. So this is how you will balance. Now for mornings, like you can make ragi pancake. Kids love pancake, make ragi pancake. Okay, you just have to find alternatives. Make smoothies. Then you have either buy a bread which is completely whole wheat. Otherwise, you make your paratha. It's absolutely fine. Now, when you're making a paratha, you put vegetable in that also. Like when you're kneading the dough. And then you stuff in with something. So this way, if we start thinking, then the things will start changing. So this is like I've given the whole meal plan. Now you just keep repeating it with different types of vegetables and fruits that are present.
Nice.
So this is how you have to manage.
It sounds complicated. It sounds like a lot, but I think if we plan the weekly schedule ahead and think that, I'm going to give my child all these ingredients through this week and make a menu plan on the weekend, then it makes your life a lot more easier.
And the same thing you can also eat, right? So there's nothing like different that you're doing for the child and for yourself. It has to build it as a family habit. Everybody is eating, and then it becomes a habit.
Yeah.
So now if you're making special food for the child and special for yourself, then you're spending a lot of time in the kitchen. You feel frustrated about it. So we have to simplify food rather than complicating it.
Nice. I think one last factor that I want to talk to you about is children nowadays. And I can understand parents are working, they are stressed out as well, both mother and father. They want to have a peaceful meal and they want the child also to just eat without causing any trouble. So gadgets come into play.
Yeah.
Right? So there are so many restaurants that we went to, and you see that the child's got a little phone or an iPad in front, and the child is busy watching and eating, and parents have a peaceful time.
Yeah.
How does it impact?
It impacts in a big way. It really impacts in a big way, because there's a simple principle that when you are eating food, you need to chew it. Because when you chew the food, the saliva gets mixed, and then the digestion starts from the mouth. Now, if you're not doing that process because your eyes and your senses are concentrating on the screen, your body is not getting signal, and you will just keep gulping it. Now, when you're gulping it, that means you're not chewing it, and proper digestion is not happening in the mouth, because digestion actually starts from the mouth itself. Everything goes in the stomach, and then there is, then the body is of course trying to digest. Body cannot leave the food just like that, but it is struggling. Later on, some disease or the other would happen. Also, the child overeats, which is one of the biggest reasons that we are one of the, now becoming #1 country in the world in obesity. Why? Because we are not sending our stomach is not sending the signal to our brain that, okay, I am full and I need to stop, because the child is so busy in watching the screen. Now, when the signal doesn't go, what you are doing is you are overeating. Now, overeating one meal versus overeating meals for next 10 years, naturally you're going to become obese. So these are the problems. That this is what happens. You don't listen to your own body that I am full and I need to stop, because my whole sensory organs are concentrating on the screen. And then honestly, this is one of the reasons that most of the people who are suffering from mental health, and which is going to be a big problem in near future, is because you are not connecting to your food. There are no emotions attached. There are no memories attached, because you are constantly watching some content. And the worst part is you don't know what content is coming on the screen.
Yeah.
Right? You cannot monitor each and every content. There would be few ads which are not relevant for the kid, but still the child is watching. And even though the child doesn't understand, it's getting into their subconscious mind. So everything is getting registered, and then it becomes a habit unconsciously. Like if you keep watching those video games where people are shooting and killing, it happens. It will happen that the child builds that a habit. See how the vicious cycle is. You show the child all these scenes, then the child is observing all of this, then they will do that. They are not going to eat, they are going to throw tantrums. Again, you will show so that they don't throw tantrums, but then
it just continues.
Yeah, it continues. So we have to break that cycle. The best way is, maybe the child will be showing tantrums for a few days, maybe for a few months, because it's the habit. It's very difficult to leave the habit if the child is watching the screen. But over a period of time, if you put your foot down, and if you make sure that while we are eating, which applies to parents also, a lot of parents are scrolling the screen when they are eating. The TV is on when there is food served. So there is no connection between food and our own body and emotions, right? Yeah. So we need to build that. Excellent. So again, it starts from the parents. I think raising a child is not about there's a very nice saying which somebody told me, is that raising a child is about raising your bar as a parent. Don't raise the child. You raise yourself as a parent. The child will will become a better person on its own. So we as a parent have to take more responsibility and be more, grounded, more disciplined. Then only it will reflect on the child.
Absolutely.
So that makes a lot of difference.
It does. And I think that is very important. Like you said, it has to come from the parents.
Yeah.
And it will take time. It may not happen tomorrow or day after, because the child is used to using the gadgets and eating. It will take time, but give it time for the long-term benefit.
Yeah.
And it's very interesting the way you've touched upon the balanced diet, which we've learnt in middle school in our science books. We learnt about the digestive process, how we have to chew and how the saliva helps in doing so. And, and somewhere when we got got into the rat race, we forgot about these basics that we have learned as a child.
Yeah.
And it just has to come back to us. And it is important for the family to sit together, talk together, concentrate on what you're eating, cherish, enjoy the food together, and make it a wonderful experience. The meal, consuming a meal as a family should become a wonderful experience that the child looks forward to.
Yes.
And it will take time, but you will get there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you so much for being here,
Thank you
Kirti.
so
It was
much.
wonderful chatting with you. You had some amazing tips for the parents and
you. Thank you so
children.
much.
And if you really need to talk more, she runs a huge parents community, Cook Clean community. You can reach out to Kirti on her Instagram, LinkedIn, WhatsApp. The details will be available in the description of this podcast. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.